What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to keep this video as short as possible, but we're actually going to be talking about something very important if you plan on heating your house or heating your home with firewood. One of the most challenging parts about firewood is that it has to be dry enough, and sometimes you need it now. And sometimes now is awfully close to when it starts getting cold. So today we're going to talk about that as quickly as possible, and then I'm going to leave you guys with enough information to do it on your own. Let's get into it. So this wood is a great example of something that would trick a lot of people. It's wet, it's oak, which takes a long time to dry, and it's got some green on it. But this is actually seasoned oak, and it was laying on the forest floor from a storm. It was laying on the forest floor for up to, I think I remember seeing it maybe even 8 months ago. So I know for a fact that this is actually rather seasoned, and it can dry really quickly if we split it in time. So this wood is wet, but it's not green. So we have to learn how to decipher the difference between wet and green, because green is wet, but wet isn't always green. Run that back and play it one more time. I promise I'm telling the truth, but I'll explain a little bit more after I split this piece. Now, the inside of this wood is going to tell us a lot. It's not quite rotting yet, but it's telling us it would have been close, but it's not rotted. So this has a lot of BTUs, a lot of potential heat still available in this wood. This wood is perfect. In fact, if I used a moisture meter right now, it would probably tell me it was really high, but in about 2 or 3 days, open air, after splitting, it'll be a lot drier than this because it's not green, it wasn't alive. So all of that water is not locked into the cells the same way it would be if the tree was still alive when I cut it. So this does not need a full year to season. This truly only needs about 3 weeks, and it'll be more than ready to burn. Now this wood is very wet, but also, see how there's no color in the tree or any color in the grains of the wood? It's because it's seasoned. So it's been laying in the rain, but it's going to be dry in time if I get it out of the damn rain and stack it and let some airflow dry it off. This is more than, this could burn as soon as the water is gone. So it's very important when you're stacking, when you're assessing which wood is ready, when you're measuring moisture content, that you know which wood you harvested, if it was green, fresh, like recently cut down, or if it had been sitting out and dead for a long period of time. Now, for those of you who have spent any time on the internet or on wood splitting lumber talk, wood splitting lumber YouTube, any of the social media wood splitting comment sections, you'll find people are just arguing about which wood is the hardest to split all of the time. It's not about which wood is the hardest to split, it's about how you can heat your home. Bottom line, that's what matters the most. But I will say, if you want to make life easier on yourself, you're really better off cutting trees when they're still green and splitting the tree when it's still green if it's hardwood. Hardwood like oak splits much easier when it's green. As it starts to dry, the grains start to bind up, and it actually glues itself, and the grains they glue themselves together, so they don't want to split. They kind of want to peel really slowly, and that's when you find your blade or your bit of your axe getting stuck and making it hard to pry out, and it just kind of gets messy. So if you are lucky enough to have the choice, make sure you're splitting your oak or hardwoods. I would think there's a lot of species wherever you live, ash, etc., that you have access to or that are similar. You want to split those when they're green. This is not green, this is seasoned, but it's got a little moisture in it still. But it's still straight grained oak, so no big deal either way. Now our last topic of the day is going to be softwood. Now, I know that didn't sound very soft. All wood is relatively hard, except palm trees. Palm trees. But softwood is very unique because although it's easy to split, and everybody thinks pine and cedar is so easy to split, it's because it dries quickly, and once it's really bone dry, it really does like to crack and split open. But the knots that exist on some species of pines like ponderosa, knotty pines, western cedars, not necessarily western red cedar, but maybe an incense cedar, their branches come from so deep into the tree that these knots, if they are green and fresh, these knots will break any man. or woman, but will break any human. And I say that with the utmost respect for every hardwood in the world. I believe that if you get yourself on a very sappy, low elevation, like knotty pine tree, you got no, it's like trying to split the fog with an axe. It's not gonna happen. You can swing on it 1,000. It's just cardio. You're just doing cardio with no yield. So if you are working with softwood, just round them suckers up and let them dry. They'll dry in the sun and then they'll crack open easy for you. But I say all that to say, softwood is the easiest wood to find out in a survival situation that is still standing and dead, because you can identify that there's no greenery left on the tree. And if you were to find a way to get that tree down, axe, saw, or otherwise, then you have yourself firewood, especially if you start from the top. So if you find yourself in a survival situation needing wood and the only thing you have is standing dead trees, which is very unlikely, but if you were locked away in a cabin and you were in the snow, you know these trees are not touching the snow. So if you drop one and start burning it from the top back, it'll have the least amount of moisture, because the bottom of the tree is absorbing so much water from the ground still, but the top isn't, because it's a dead tree. So you can fell a dead tree and then burn it from the top and work your way back down to the bottom if you're really hard out for firewood. So let's bust this one open and call it a day. So I'm gonna hit it from over here. Let's see. Like that. There we go. Last one. I'll see you guys on the next one.